So, I know we've been playing a ton of Historic, but I heard about this new format called Standard, I think I heard about on an article I was reading about. And I thought maybe we would try it. So, Winota, Joiner of Forces is a card that's wrongfully banned in Historic. Hopefully she won't be banned there much longer, but we can still play her in Standard. So she says, whenever you attack with a non-human creature, look at the top 6 cards of your deck, and you put a human creature from among them onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. It gains indestructible until end of turn, put the rest of the bottom of your library in any order. So this archetype got a huge upgrade here in Blade Historian. So 4 mana, all red, white, 2/3. Attacking creatures you control have double strike. So if you remember, Winota was busted in Historic with Angrath Marauders, which doubled the damage of all of your creatures. So this, while it doesn't quite double the damage because multiple Blade Historians don't stack up, multiple Blade Historians don't stack up. It's still very powerful and doubles the attack of all of your stuff. We got Elite Spellbinder here as another solid upgrade here as a human that you can floop into play off of Winota to get some disruption, and just like a really excellent card. We've been playing this card in a bunch of different decks in Historic, and it's been excellent there. The sideboard missing lessons are am I to make use of Aspirant or am I blind? So we have Professor of Symbology here, which has the learn mechanic, and I was kind of surprised. So this list is PV's Winota deck list. And so when this enters the battlefield, you learn, which means you either get to grab a lesson you control from outside of the game. So we have Reduced to Memory, Inkling Summoning, or Mascot Exhibit here. And I think one of the things that's neat about this card is when you play this on 2, you can grab Inkling Summoning to have just this card curves 2 into 3 for you, which is kind of an interesting use. So when you play this on 2, you learn, you grab Inkling Summoning, or you can grab Reduced to Memory as an answer, or if you're in the very late game, you can do this and get a whole bunch of things. So one thing to remember with Learn is that you don't have to get a card you control from outside the game. You can also discard a card and then draw a card. So the fact that there's only 3 lessons in our sideboard, I think is fine for this. Also, like most games, you're not going to draw all the copies of this card. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games with this and see if it feels powerful and consistent in the format, if it's able to get under stuff like rogues, and if it's able to kill before something like, Assault Ultimatum goes over the top. And Grief said, well, starting a new job in over weeks, so I decided to spend some generosity. Congrats on your new gig. Ended up 9-1 last night with Boros. Sweet. How did the Gearhulk matchups feel? Those seem like they could be tough on the surface. Seems fine. Not amazing, but fine. Aspirant's an interesting inclusion. This is like a good card, but it's not like a good card to find with Winota. So it's interesting to take up a slot. Playing threats before Winota that don't trigger her when they attack seems interesting. Google, thank you for the 25 months. Welcome back. I'm gonna put this into play tapped. It could be untapped later, but these are untapped later, and there's no reason to reveal something. Staunch Shield Mate. Could be a Winota mirror match here. Yeah, I'm not sure Haktos is better than your other options, basically, is what it comes down to. I guess, speaking of hits, Luminarch Aspirant is kind of nice with Brassie's Lieutenant, which is a card that we're playing. You can spread counters out to make the Lieutenant a little bit more potent. No plays pass. You know, maybe I should have put a counter on this to get around Bonecrusher Giant. Nope. Okay. Thought you said you wouldn't draw 4 every game. Yeah, something like that. And honestly, though, this is, that is a dwarf. Cute. This is probably a game, I think I'm discarding to draw a card, right? I think I want to try and hit a land drop here. Scary. Just let that trade happen. Cannot quite Skyclave that one. Alright, well, with that card known, we definitely want to drop a 4th point of toughness here on the Luminarch. This card's really strong. I think I'm playing another Historic 5K on Saturday. And I don't know exactly what I'm playing, but whatever it is, it involves 4 Spellbinder. We're 1 point short of lethal this turn. I can play dragons. Nah, I want to play a Mopey creature deck. Think I want to leave 2 creatures back here so I don't die to a removal spell off the top. Hey, Draconic One, thanks for the Prime support. I appreciate that. I really don't like Green-White Collected Company. The deck feels really clunky and bad when you don't have a Land War Elf. The big problem with that deck is it just doesn't have meaningful plays before 3 mana, which means your hands that don't involve Land War Elves just are really terrible. And honestly, part of the reason why I'd lean towards Dead Guy Ale over the red-white deck that we played yesterday was because that deck has a bunch of good 1-mana spells. I might also try a Marduk build that kind of mushes the red-white and the Dead Guy together. Like, plays red-white with discard. I hit Diamond off-stream last night, actually. We were a couple matches away. I wanted to dork around with some stuff. Chat, you want the #1 sign that a standard format is good? I occasionally play matches of Magic off-stream. I was only live for 7.5 hours yesterday, chat. Sometimes you just need a little bit more. Do I want Skyclave here? I'm boarding in other cheaper pieces of spot removal. I think this comes out. No, I played Historic off stream. These are my first games of Standard. Well, not only do you get some discard spell, James, you get to play Knight of the Ebon Legion as a 1-mana creature. Knight's really good. Is Eidolon of the Great Revel, is that legal in Pioneer? I forget I forget where that one lines up at exactly. It is, yeah, we're gonna get that one eventually. I think Eidolon's a super fair and reasonable card. The worst part of coming back to Magic after an extended break is I'm having to read almost every card. I'm a Magic player and I hate reading cards. Well, that's why Historic's great, Beetle. Historic has a bunch of cards that she'll remember. Is there any sort of roadmap when we'll get Pioneer cards to read it? No. In fact, honestly, it's smart on their part to not commit in advance to that, because when you make commitments like that... No! Cut and bumps for Historic are great, Wellborn. All about it. Making commitments like that, and then if you miss them, people get upset. You gonna trade dogs here? Don't want to trade doggos, Abe. Alright, well, you just cast Blade Historian for 4, and then get closing here, huh? Do I want to leave this back? I think I need to leave this back for now. Because if they attack here, I wanna trade. It could also be right to attack with this and then use it to just protect the Historian. We have blue-white Magecraft today? We definitely can. Won't look sweet. We'll get to, that'll be our first one after Oh, right, Showdown's gonna trigger. And thanks for the bits, Wellborn. Very generous of you. You do, Elvish Rage. Aggressive Glass Cascade here. Are they exiling my flyer? Because if they're exiling the dog, I just sack it to give the Blade Historian. Yeah, there's that makes sense. Ooh. Start here. Nah, you're sub. Don't worry about ad blockers, Elvish Rage. It might be reduced to memory. Their skulls is gonna pop off next turn, which means we could do this after the fact. I'm pretty far off of this still. I like all the cards in my hands. I think it's just reduced to memory. And I think we drop Spellbinder here. And then I'm definitely not blocking with this. I'm gonna attack. There's a chance I block with these two, I think. Wow, that seems really good for us. If they draw a land here and are unable to trigger Showdown, we'll be in a pretty amazing spot. They can put a third counter on this, it's a little annoying. Well, I guess that's not true. I just get to block with Spellbinder. So if they attack here, my dog fogs their attack and trades for their dog. We're pretty bad at drawing actual factual Winota so far. And then I'll sack my dog to protect Spellbinder, and then if they sack their dog to protect Rimrock, I get to Redcap the Outlaw. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that this archetype's seen a ton of play. This is basically the only new deck to come out of the recent expansion. For standard. New. Maybe we'll be proven wrong in something. Someone in the MPL will figure out something fancy, but actually, let's hold on to this in case we want to learn. Rummage it away to this. Shatterskull Smashing, maybe. Study the blade, chat. I think they're trying to cast an X spell. Alright, yeah, they were trying to figure out how to cast this. You need 8 mana. You need 8 mana to hit multiple targets with it. They were trying to figure out how much mana they had. I think they didn't understand the math on the card, and they were trying to figure out why the client wouldn't let them spend more mana. That card goes up in increments of 3. It goes 2, 5, 8, 11, 14, etc. Playing Abzan Magecraft decks that's new. I've had moderate success with it. I've never submitted a deck before. How do I go about doing it? Yeah, I got the link for you. We do have a Clerics deck that we're gonna try tomorrow too. So Glandy has submitted a couple of ideas. If standard seems okay, we'll have some of it in the regular rotation. I'm going in with an open mind. So we're gonna play this today, and we're gonna play at least one tomorrow. You can always tell whether or not we're playing best of 1 or best of 3 by looking at the number of pips in the corner of the screen. So if there's little dots here, it means it's best of 3, and if there's not little dots here, it means there's best of 1. So a program that teaches math and reading using magic cards. I mean, that's basically how I learned to read growing up. We're going to be starting with Blue-White Magecraft today. We had to cut the line from Wellborn for that. Well, that's not strictly true anymore, because we have done a little bit of best of 1 in Historic recently. Alright, and now we just hope they never draw a 5th land, because I can't beat this card ever. Awesome-o, thanks for the 3rd of a year, welcome back. Petty Theft does cost 4, yes, you can see here this is 4/5. We're supposed to play Bone Daddy here, because if I peel Winota, I want the most non-humans in play to trigger her. Amy, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. I just can't beat this card, right? And I guess they might attack with it, and then I get to double block, but like... I did say Magecraft Swift. Yeah, someone cut Wellborn cut your deck into be the first one today. I guess I should triple block. The problem is if I triple block... they, They're super dead. Does our deck have any way in the 75 to interact with an Elder Gargoth, or is that just an oversight? I've reduced to memory, technically. None of these cards seem good. Like, looks a bit... Hobbit, thanks for the 10 months. Welcome back. Mascot Exhibition is we drew our professor in the late game and we wanted it to be a bomb. It's a cute. I'm interested to see if we actually use that card at all in this set, or if it's just completely unnecessary. All right, and this is a sweet curve, so we get to go Doggo on 1 into Professor on 2 into Inkling on 3 off of the Professor's Learn into Winota on 4 attack trigger. Okay, so with this draw, do I play off curve now? I think no. I'm going to grab the Inkling. If I don't draw an untapped land next turn, though, I'm going to go tapped land Dog, I think. I want to be able to obviously hit this on 4. Alright, perfect. And then, honestly, with this Foretell card here, if they just pass with mana up on 3 here, I'm probably just playing a tapped land. Oh. Oh, honey. My Winota. Solid tap out, opponent. That'll learn ya. It didn't want a history lesson today, chat. They just wanted to be done. Man, this hand's super awk, huh? Yes, that's correct, Conqueror. So if you fetch up Blade Historian. If you fetch up Blade Historian with Winota, the things attacking get double strike immediately. This doggo would like points of attack. Hey, thanks for the submission, Zachary. That looks sweet. I gotta confirm exactly what my weekend looks like with the boss, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna be live a bunch this weekend too. Is my current plans. Pick up. Man, why does this thing get to block when you don't have a 1/1? To what do we owe this gift? We've had so many deck submissions. I think I've got like 16 decks waiting to be played going into today, and I don't want to leave people waiting. I'm assuming we're about to get Brazen Borrower. So they go block, block. They take 6, 10, 14, and die. I did see that, Zach. Praise the Helix Fossil. Thanks for the prime. Welcome back. Alright, chat. Winota is undefeated. The real Slim Gravy. Will the real Slim Gravy please stand up? We're gonna have a problem here. What do we think about rummaging a dog? Think I like rummaging a dog to do our best hit a land on curve? Yeah, definitely Zero. Just don't change the archetype is my one request. I'll grab whatever the latest version of the deck is the night before I play it. Man, are there Gandalfs in this format too? Oh, this is the Luca deck. This deck trying to like turn for whatever people. Man, this is a really unfortunate time. We even used the Professor to rummage here. We bricked on our 4th land on 4. Nah, they're playing a combo deck. So I'll like transmogrify this bird here. And they'll put the 5/5 dragon into play. No respect for Bonecrusher Giant. Yeah, yeah, definitely busted. Hey, so even if we draw a land, we're probably dead at this point. Because the big dragon has vigilance. Reidane sounds lovely. Skyclave Apparition seems real bad. Scorching Dragonfire seems fine for killing their tokens in response to them targeting. What's going on? Distinction, thanks for the 24 months. Hopefully, quote 69 will apply to Historic at some point this year. That would be nice. Yeah, if I'm not able to cast Gandalf on Magic Arena by the end of the year, that will also be an incredible disappointment. I believe in our ability to hit a land drop, chat. Or two. Land drop or two. Woo woo. Oh ho. We're halfway there. Oh ho. Lizard on a chair. Take my hands. We'll make it, I swear. Has anybody attacked with more fugitive wizards on camera than you? I don't believe so. Play Blade Historian here as opposed to Winota. I'd prefer not to run her into a counterspell. And if I attack like this and then if they dragon me next turn, I still get to like play Winota and potentially kill through the dragon, which is nice. They don't play Brazen Borrower, because remember, they can't play anything other than the dragon, otherwise they'll hit the dragon when they transmogrify. YOLO. Which dragon is it? They're transmogrifying out the 5 mana, or the 7 mana red white dragon. Okie doke. There's no Settle the Wreckage in this format, so I assume our opponent is very dead. I'll take your one card that's currently castable. This looks like a lethal attack to me, but I can't count. Big Magic player mood. The attack is lethal, but I am unable to count it. That's correct. When you take Shark Typhoon with Spellbinder, you can no longer cycle it. You can only cast it. Cycling is an activated ability that you can only activate while the card's in your hand. Keep this hand. It technically curves 1, 2, 3. It's a pretty decent 3 as well. Honestly, with this draw, I might rummage with the Professor. So with Learn, you can either grab one of those lessons from the sideboard, or you can discard a card to draw a card. Man, now one thing that'll be pretty disgusting, if they do unban Winota and Historic, and honestly I think they should, you'll get to play Marauders and Blade Historian together. Which would be pretty sick. So, Reidane says their scary cards cost 2 more. She also blocks nicely here. See chat, not a scary card, doesn't cost 2 more. Part of me wants to Spellbinder, but another part of me just wants to jam the Blade Historian and close this game out. So I think that's what we do. I don't know. Historic's like, I really don't understand. Actually, I don't even understand. No one reasonable can look at the emergent ultimatum decks that are in Historic right now and tell me in good faith, yeah, Winota's too powerful. Oh, you know what? Is this a Doomscar? This might be a Doomscar. Trying to think what they could be foretelling. If they have untapped land here, which they do from the birth that we know about, they could play Doomscar for 5 because it foretells, then at +2 from Reidane. I think if they have Doomscar here, I save the Blade Historian and then just deploy another Reidane next turn. Blade Historian helps us close quickly. The deck only plays the draw. And this is what someone in Twitch chat just did there is a good example of why you shouldn't make assumptions about decks and formats. Like, just because Croakies didn't play a card doesn't mean other people aren't going to try things on the ladder. A lot of experimentation that goes on early in formats.
The time to fight is now. Heroes, rally to me.
Make that one cost 9, huh? Oh, I'm dumb. They're gonna get to Transmogrify now, right? They're on 6. That's fine. We'll do this, and we'll grab Reduce to Memory.
cannot move me. You will meet my gaze.
Now it looks like you did it on purpose, something like that. We'll see what they hit. If they don't hit a Lorehold command off of... Oh, and Reidane actually says they can't even cast a Lorehold command, right? Because Lorehold command will cost 2 here. Yeah, I actually totally think this is fine. So they can cast this, but... I think we saved that to keep our pressure going, because this costs them 9, so... Which is but a bad memory, chat. They need land Doomscar from hand here. If they have land Doomscar from hand, they get us. Like, this costs 8 to escape because of Reidane. This card's so good. These two cards. I'm pretty sure whenever I'm playing a Historic this week, it involves both of these cards. As someone who's played an incredible amount of Godok Teague in his time, I actually wish Godok Teague would get added to this format. Hey, Cisco, thanks for the entire year. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Reidane. Reidane's a card I knew was going to be strong. Reidane's like a one-sided Teague, chat. In a lot of ways. Falcon and Zorgnux, thanks for the follows. Welcome to the channel this morning. Sky Noodle A. Now it is worth noting that Sir Teaglesworth is symmetrical. So for people thinking, man, this card's pretty busted, it is symmetrical. It's still very strong, but if I make one deck for Historic, what would I make? Something with Elite Spellbinder. I really liked all the various Spellbinder mid-range decks that we've been playing on stream. We played red-white and black-white mid-rangey decks, and I've liked both of them. If you're someone that doesn't have, if you're someone that's kind of limited on wild cards, I think the red-white, if you're limited on wild cards and you like mid-range decks. So one of the big things that you need to understand about non-rotating formats is that what decks you like playing should be a big part of what you consider when building a deck, because there's so many playable decks in these formats that, like, play preference should be a deciding factor. Hey, Silvers, thanks for 10 months. Yeah, Historic is great. Honestly, I think there's a good chance Historic's the best Magic format I've ever played. Just the fundamentals of it really allow Wizard to create something unique that they haven't had in their game before. You can't say things like that. It makes me want to download it again. I mean, and if you're someone that had played Arena before and like you've got Shocklands, Shocklands are probably the biggest hurdle of entry to getting decks in Historic. Get a slower and unrotating format. Nah, that'll basically never be a thing. Also, like, Magic doesn't really have slow formats in general, right? Like, we're combo killing people on turn 4 right now. Like, Rip is insane against rogues. It's fine. I guess it's pretty reasonable. It turns off Drown. Yeah, I'd buy that for $1. Pauper is a slow down rotating format. Hey, that's actually true. In Pauper, you frequently die of old age before anything else can happen. It's been 16 months. One of the OGs, Tumos, welcome back. Is the Sultai matchup an Ox matchup? Bring in one. I don't really like any of these other cards in my... I like any of these other cards in my sideboard here. So for reference, the last time we tried to play Pauper on stream, we played 2 matches in 2.5 hours. I believe we won both of them. If I recall correctly, it's the first time I've ever started 2-0 in a league and then not finished the league. I mean, I play quickly too, so like I wasn't in danger of timing out in the games that we played. Space Martian? That's a lot of sub-gifts. Good morning to you. Hot damn. Thanks for the follow, Ruzi. Hope you're having a wonderful Thursday. I think we're just rummaging again. I think I'm rummaging Bonecrusher Giant, just looking for lands. Just want to spread the gift of free speech. God bless. To our newest members of Hooklandia, make sure to pop into the subscriber Discord server and keep an eye out. We're going to be putting up signups for our next subscriber open historic tournament. In fact, I'm going to ping my boss right now and ask her if she can get that up this morning. It's going to be in about 2 weeks at this point. Peace and love. Thanks for the follow. Every time you rummage, you get a Brassy. Yeah, seems like it. I think I want to cast Reidane here. Try and keep them off of binding next turn. This does expose Reidane to who's co-casting. So Jim Davis will be back, joining me for the next open. He was excellent 2 opens ago. Morning, Furious and Wookie Cream. Yeah, I should ping Ellie. He's someone I chatted with pretty consistently back in the SCG days. It was funny, we've been talking about Dead Guy Ale on stream, and it sent me looking for some of my old top 8 finishes, and apparently my SCG top 8 finish with Dead Guy Ale and Legacy was almost 9 years ago at this point. And I felt physical pain when I looked at the date on the top 8 posting. I think our opponent is disconnected here, unfortunately. It was my last SCG open in the before times. Before, global pandemic happened, I was playing paper Magic tournaments with some consistency, like two or three a year still. I am a relic, Betty. How often did you go to them and swear you'd never do it again? Not too often. I would go to them and say, okay, this was fun. I'm not going to do this again for a few months, but like I definitely aged out past the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to do this every weekend. Maddie's in chat there, actually. For people that are new to the channel, Matt's one of my buddies that I used to travel to play a bunch of paper Magic with. There was one point Matt and I traveled to play in Magic tournaments 12 out of 13 weekends over the course of a time span. God bless my wife. She's a very, very, very understanding woman. Mardu mid-range flyers list in the Discord. That sounds similar to do you see what I posted last night? This is like even more flyers. Okay, so you cut the 2 drops and just added phoenixes. I hate that. I think Spellbinder Rankle Glorybringer is a pretty good core. That's also because how available SCG Opens were on the East Coast, right? Well, I mean, I live in the Midwest, so we'd occasionally drive out to the East Coast, but that included, like, SCG Opens. There were a lot of IQs and random 1Ks and 5Ks in there. What did you do while I was gone every weekend? Hang out with friends. Soldier Sui, thanks for the 39 months. Good morning, good morning. Do I mulligan this? This is like pretty bad against Sultai Ultimatum. Like, I don't have a Winota Insight. I think we mulligan this. Yeah, this is much better. I'm gonna bottom the Skyclave here. Keep the backup Winota, I think. Hey, Ashton. Kansas City. It's like a 6-hour drive for me. When people, it would always make me chuckle. People, especially people who like live in Europe, would always be like, Jeff, you're so lucky to have so many SCG tournaments near where you live, and like not realizing how far we would drive. Like when I said there, Matt and I used to travel like 12 out of 13 weekends in a row. Our driving radius to get to Magic tournaments was like, God, what was our drive radius, Maddie? It was like 8 or 9 hours we'd drive sometimes. Yeah, bigger. Our drive radius was like bigger than lots of Europe. Like, for reference, the closest Magic tournament I would ever get to where I currently live, which is where I lived when I was traveling, is 2.5 hours away. So where I live is considered a pretty decent spot for Magic tournaments, and I'm 2.5 hours from Chicago, St. Louis, and Indianapolis. I'm like equidistance from the three of those. Yes, I mean 8 or 9 hours one way. I mean, we'd hop in the car at like 3 or 4 o'clock on Friday, drive till 1 or 2 a.m. on Saturday morning, sleep for 5 hours, play Magic tournaments for 2 days, leave at 8 or 9 o'clock on Sunday night, and like get home at like 3 or 4 a.m. Monday morning. In fact, I distinctly remember a Kansas City trip where we drove home in a blizzard, and a 6.5 hour drive at 30 miles per hour turned into an 11.5 hour drive because of the snow. And we left, I got home, I took a shower, and I went to work. Because the weather doubled the distance of the drive. Easy extinction events here. Atlanta's 8 hours. Atlanta is 8 hours if you're driving, Matthew. Atlanta is 9 hours if you drive the speed limit, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna confirm right now. Atlanta, Georgia. Directions. Bloomington, Illinois. Yeah, Google says 9 hours, 59 minutes, Matthew. 9 hours, 59 minutes. So, even my 9 hours was an underestimate. Look, Jeff, do you want to get to Atlanta or not? You can't have it both ways, Hogland. You want to get to your Magic tournament on time or not? Sky Noodle results. All right, we're gonna get 2 Winota triggers this turn. Is that enough for lethal is the question. I'm kind of new here. Can someone show me how the timeout thing works? Of course! We pride ourselves on good customer service here in Huglandia. Alright, so I'm gonna Brassy Lieutenant, and we're gonna put a counter on here, so that way when they kill that one, we get a token out of it. Yikes! Yikes! Where's our history lesson, chat? You take 10 minutes off every estimated hour on the highway if you drive with the flow of traffic. Drive with the flow of traffic is such a non-incriminating way to say you're gonna go over the speed limit. So just matching the flow of traffic, man. I don't know what you want. So far, this deck seems neat, and I would bet it's pretty competitive, but it doesn't create particularly compelling gameplay. For lack of a better term. It's definitely very, very feast or famine. Also, like anything else where the punishment is only a fine, it really just means speeding is only illegal if you can't afford the fine. That's true. Laws that penalize you with a monetary are only laws that apply to poor people. I think we've just put this into play tapped on one. Yeah, driving laws vary a lot state to state because the states issue the driver's licenses. I think we're again rummaging for lands. I might be rummaging a little bit too aggressively with this. Oh, I should have played the Shatterskull tap, probably. I'm from Atlanta. If you don't factor in Atlanta traffic into your drive, then you're going to be at least an hour late. Yeah, that's definitely true, depending on when you coast through. What's going on, Jabrizi? Thanks for the half a year. And all right, where I live from, when we're going to Atlanta, we'd have to factor in, I think it was Nashville traffic is where we drive through, if I recall correctly. Or some other major city you drive through going from central Illinois to Atlanta. I think it's Nashville. Mardu Winota. Maybe could you drop it through the form for me, Boston? I could take a peekaboo at it. I could take a peekaboo at it after the stream today. Yeah, I was gonna say here, they kind of have to take Shatterskull, right? I can play this as a land for free still. That's great. I have never driven in New York City. I've ridden in a car in New York City. Speaking of stupid things I've done to play in Magic tournaments, the list is long, especially if you ask my wife. Maddie, I think, Matt, were you with me for the New York City one? I feel like we were together on that one, but they're all kind of a blur. Yeah, we flew to LaGuardia Airport, and a friend who was a judge picked us up at LaGuardia and drove us to Somerset, because flying into Somerset was super expensive. So we flew to New York and then drove in a car from New York to Somerset. Yeah, that one's got to be towards the top of the stupid trips we did for Magic. Listen, Clador, I was like fresh out of grad school. We had no money and we had all the time in the world. So you make lots of bad decisions when you don't value your time and you're just pinching pennies on every plane ticket. Why don't I put my current record with my deck somewhere on the screen? Here's the God's honest truth. I'm about to call out a lot of content creators here, chat. People that put their record with the deck on their overlay are either idiots or they know what they're doing and they're lying to you to try and sell you something. No content creator, myself included, is playing a statistically significant sample size to give you meaningful data with the deck that they're playing. And all putting a record on your overlay on your stream serves to do is give people at home that don't understand statistics a false sense of security or a false sense of you understand what you're talking about and they should believe in your deck list. And if the streamer understands the math and understands they don't have a statistically significant sample size, they're selling a bad product. They're promoting something like and that's something that's very common. Like, statistical understanding is very low in Magic in humans in general. For people that are new to the channel, I have a master's degree in mathematics. I've taught at the college and university level. I've very familiar with statistical concepts, and their sample sizes are much larger than you think. Yeah, it's calculated to get clicks. I think a lot of card game creators, I think they know what they're doing, and they're generating clickbait. And like, whatever, hustle however you gotta hustle, I suppose. But I don't do that because I think it is dishonest. You're doing that to create something, to sell something to people that don't understand math. You wanna see how your run's going? I don't care how my run's going. I don't give a shit about my record. I think you are in the minority saying that you just care about how my run's going, as opposed to using, oh, streamer went 5-1 with the deck list. That means the deck list is reasonable. That's the conclusion a lot of people have. I want to jam here. Is it just like attack for 2 and play Bonecrusher? I think it's attack for 2 and play Bonecrusher. Most entertainment content is dishonest. That's honestly true. It's sad, but it's true. And like, if clickbait didn't work, people wouldn't do it, right? Is like the TLDR. Do I attack with both of these and try to high roll Historian plus Brassy? The problem is, if I attack with this, they probably get a free block. I could just kill them with a decent Blade Historian pull though, right? Yeah, that's true. That's true too. I want to know how your run's going. A record doesn't even tell you how a run's going. Think about how many times you're playing a deck or you're watching someone play a deck, and a really long, interesting match that's super close comes down to a missed land or a small misplay. And like, you can't, like, I often say a record doesn't tell the story, because it doesn't, right? Like, the difference between going 5-0 and going, 2-3 can often be 3 razor close examples, razor close decisions or variance things that split in your direction. It's fine, another Yorion deck, but I will say this: coming back to standard has reminded me how narrow. Yeah. The only time I put records up is when I'm playing in tournaments, because your record in that tournament directly impacts your outcome in that tournament. I'm not sharing my record there because it's a statistically significant sample size. I'm sharing my record there because it communicates to viewers at home where my tournament is at. Thanks for the follow, Ollie, in a weak dream. I'm not commenting on non-card games, Jabrizi Twitch. So like it feels like you're trying to say you got me there by giving this other example where what I'm saying isn't relevant. But yeah, the example I'm giving is not relevant in your non-card game that you're talking about. So stop it. What's a good sample size for a deck? For Magic Best of 3, 100 isn't good enough at all. Think about how many okay, here's the thing. You want to, and this is whatever you think at home is a statistically significant sample size, I want you to multiply it by 10 or maybe even 15, 20 or 100, because you need to think about all of the variables you can't control during that session that you're playing. Think about how did your opponent sideboard in the matchups that you're playing? Think about what's another good one? Think about your deck list and how it changed. You play 100 matches with your deck or 100 games, your deck list probably had a ton of different cards in it over the course of that set, right? And like let's even go as far to say, you know, let's say you played against the same deck 20 times in that 100 matches, but of those 20 decks, how many of those decks do you think had the exact same sideboard plan? How many of those 20 decks had the same sideboard, but the player sideboarded differently against you in the post-board games? How many of those games were on the play versus on the draw? Their board plans might have been different on the play versus on the draw. One of the best quotes from a competitive Magic player that I ever heard was, playing competitive Magic well is the art of drawing meaningful information from statistically insignificant sample sizes. And that's why a lot of the time, you know, people ask the question, okay, Jeff, what's the hard and fast rule here? How do I know when this has happened? How do I figure out when I definitely, what are the things I look for to know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing here? And you just can't. There aren't just like these get rich quick rules that like the MPL don't want you to know for 6 easy steps to be a pro. It wasn't Frank Kirsten. It was a Michigan player who, he's a Pro Tour champion. Andrew Ellenbogen, Engelbot. His last name starts with an E. Ellenbogen, I think is his name. He beat LSV in the finals of that PT. Thanks for the follow, Daniel and Sigger. Yeah, Ellenbogen, that's the one. I mean, to be fair to smooth-brained people everywhere, as someone who's taught statistics, like people. As someone who's taught statistics, statistics are generally speaking unintuitive to a lot of folks. Hey, Durka, yeah, that's why I give people swords. So if their situation changes and they've supported here for a while, they can still be a part of the community. I don't think I attack with Luminarch here, because if they kill Skyclave, I don't want her to get eaten. And then we're at 6 mana, right? So, like, if this resolves, do I just, like, go get Mascot Exhibition? I guess I could get Reduced to Memory to exile the Yorion next turn. Yeah, Reduced to exile Yorion's probably better. So now if I attack with everything and they kill this, they still die? Baselol, thanks for the follow. Good morning. Alright, so this has to block... Thanks for the sub, Gypsies of us. Has to block that. MD Knights, thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. Welcome to the channel. We dodge a sweeper, we can dodge a ball, chat. Extinction event does not get them out of it. Well, so far this deck seems very good against Yorion piles people have been playing. A lot of them open around and then they die. Hey, Death, thanks for 31 months. Death has been with us for 31 months now, chat. Every day we die a little more. I wish Wizards would have given us a specific wish board instead of having them come from sideboards. This would have also resolved the issue with them having to reduce best of one sideboards to just 7 cards, and it would have delivered us from the god-awful interface that they updated with that. So I think from a design perspective, the learn cards are really sweet. I think from an execution perspective, I wish they would have thought outside the box a little bit more than they did. Rummaging for lands, rummaging for lands. Hi-ho the cherry-o, rummaging for lands. Unfortunate we didn't hit a mana to Elite Spellbinder this turn. You haven't seen any of them outside of Limited? Well, I mean, we're currently playing 4 learn cards, the deck we're playing at the moment. No, I don't think that's true at all, Bald. Re-imaging the current sideboard is 100% inside the box, in my opinion. Like, it struggles to hit its lands fairly often. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know how many lands this deck is playing. I'm gonna look at my cardboard live before I tell you whether or not I agree with you. I want something to fix the lands. It's 23 lands in here? Nah, 23 is probably fine. I guess we have a lot of 4s. I think I'd cut a spell for a land before I did anything else. Maybe I'm supposed to actually tag Noodle here. Because they probably want to cast this next turn anyways. It's using all their mana. I think I'm supposed to tag Noodle there, actually. Yeah, I live in Bloomington. I moved here initially like a little over a decade ago to do my master's program at Illinois State. Maybe I'm supposed to Reidane here rather than Bonecrusher. Keep them off of their draw 2. Although I guess if they cast their draw 2 this turn, Winota comes down and just messes them up. The Herald deck does have big Winota vibes. You people call it Blono, they do. They do in fact call it Blono. Man, putting Elite Spellbinder into play is so great. See if we're able to give him a history lesson or not next turn. Remember, chat, Magic in no ways resembles gambling. It is a low variance, high skill endeavor. Let's wait for Magic for a while, and your stream sparked my passion again. Thank you for interesting content and well-thought arguments and explanations. 22 minutes, Dr. Jones. Breaks are good. I think I'm into this, actually. Next turn, we get to go Reidane plus Luminarch. Luminarch will make this be able to attack into here. Oh, is this a Doomscar? Doomscar the whole time, chat. Hey, Draft Barrel, thanks for the follow. Jinja Ninja, thanks for 34 months. Morning, good morning. Do I still rank them based on donation amount? Kinda. So all the deck submissions basically have the same amount donated towards them, Kelvin. So everything in the deck queue right now is donated with $50, and they're in the deck queue in the order the donations were made. So when I was doing them at lower price donations, I was starting them at $10. I did. They were varying amounts of donations, but now basically everything's donated for at 50. So they're ordered by timestamps, yeah. First in, first out, generally speaking. This is fine. What type of software engineering did I used to do? For software stuff in a professional environment, I mostly did process automation. I worked at a Fortune 50 company, and my job was basically I would go up to people and tell them, okay, how do you use Excel, or how do you generate reports, and what do you do on your computer? And then I'd make the computer do their processes for them automatically. From a hobbyist standpoint, I did a lot of Python development and a little bit of C. I have a GitHub. I have a GitHub command? I don't have a GitHub command. It's been a long time since I've really push coded anything on GitHub. That doesn't surprise me. I think we Reidane here, because Reidane triggers Winota if we draw a 4th land next turn. Yeah, the ultimatum deck's been all over Historic. It's very reasonable. Excited to get stuck on 3 lands. Yeah, me too. A 24th land's probably not unreasonable for this deck, like another spell land. I'm sure coworkers loved being made redundant. Something like that. Let's get PV down here so we don't run into an Omen. Oh, so we're dead. I guess we take Shark Typhoon because it's the thing that's not like the others. Starting to code in Python, but I struggle with what project to start to get the hang of it. Yeah, I'm someone that always learns in a very hands-on manner. So like, when I do like a coding project, I always learn best by like figuring out something I want to make and then making it. Why do people call that card PVDRR? Because Paulo Vitor Dama de Rosa is the likeness on this card, and he helped design it. Every year, the world champion gets their likeness on a card that they get to help design. It is a fantastic design. Yeah, Fervent Champion was Javier Dominguez from 2020. So it doesn't look like it, but we've died. Actually, it kind of looks like it. We're gonna cut something for another land here. Yeah, the invitational system with people getting to design cards is great. We've been at this one for an hour. Let's play some Historic. My summary on this one was, it seems like it's a competitive deck in Standard. Blade Historian really gave this kind of the up over the top feel that you need for Winota to be powerful. That being said, like, the deck wasn't really super engaging. Like, it was a neat, like, do the thing deck, but this is not a deck where, like, I personally could find myself playing it constantly on the ladder because it's just not very engaging. Like, you either, like, do the thing or you die, and there's not a ton of play and counterplay to it. Even, which kind of surprised me, like, we have all these interactive pieces, but, like, yeah, it really didn't feel smart. I didn't feel like I was ever, like, outplaying my opponents or, like, making meaningful decisions. It was mostly just, like, running them down. I do think I'd probably cut an Aspirant for a 24th land. Most of the games we lost were because of, we either lost because our opponent was being interactive, or we lost because we didn't have a land drop. People asking about Haktos. I think Haktos is worse than these other 4s that we're playing. I like Brassey's Lieutenant a lot. I think the fact that this generates knights that also trigger Winota is a big deal. I like that it, like, powers up your weaker hits to make them a little bit better with Blade Historian, and Blade Historian's obviously the reason to be playing Winota right now, so I don't know. If you love Haktos, it's probably fine, but I was pretty content with this card. I think this one's super reasonable. Probably just like a Shatterskull Smashing for the 24th land. The lesson that gets a land might be good to shoot. No, I don't want to cast a spell to get a land, chat. I just want to like draw my land. This deck wants to just draw its lands and play on curve 1, 2, 3, 4, or 2, 3, 4. Don't mope around with bad cute cards. Just put lands in your deck and play on curve. That's what this deck is looking to doing. Just play on curve. All right.